AI tools like Claude, ChatGPT, LLaMA, AIxRE, Gemini are incredible tools that make us so much more efficient as requirements engineers. And today I want to talk about a specific area, which is the stakeholder analysis, which is key to any project. So it's a very important area, not only in requirements engineering, but for example, also in project management. But before we start, I want to give you a little bit of input of theory behind stakeholders and stakeholder management. Now, who are stakeholders? They can be either natural persons, like you and me, individuals, or also legal entities, say organizations or NGOs, etc., that have an interest in the progress or the outcome of something that you're building, which could be a project or a product that you're working on. And those stakeholders have a direct or an indirect influence on your project's requirements. Now, typically, we differentiate between internal and external stakeholders. Internals are the ones which are internal to your organizations, like employees, managers, or the management as well, or the CEO. And then there are all the external stakeholders, like customers, like government, organizations, shareholders, and so on and so on. Now, how can we identify stakeholders? Well, there's a couple of questions and considerations that you could discuss in your project team to identify typical stakeholders. For example, you can think about individuals and groups which might have an interest in your system, or those which are directly or maybe also only indirectly affected by your system. Then obviously very important is the groups which are involved in your system development. Typically, it's the quality assurance department or also the maintenance team which are pulled in too late in a system. So make sure you have them on board straight away to make sure everything's gonna go smooth. Then you can think about who else is allowed to give us and provide us with requirements, or is there any kind of special group like the compliance team or the legal team or anything else who would give us some potential regulations or any sort of other government rules and so on, which could also be constraints to our project. Very important is the fact that if you miss any key stakeholder, then you most likely also going to miss requirements, and we want to make sure that this doesn't happen. Now, typical stakeholders you can see here in this word cloud, the end users, but also product designers, controlling, legal, process experts, appraisers, opponents, system administrators, and so on and so on. Now, when we think about stakeholders, it's not just the sole fact of the information about that stakeholder or just a list of stakeholder names. We also have to consider different areas like the power of influence, their attitude towards the product that we're building, their role in our project, and also what sort of decision authority do they have. Now, to help us analyze these different areas, there's different tools that you can use. For example, the stakeholder matrix or a stakeholder onion. And you can derive from a stakeholder matrix also a stakeholder engagement hierarchy, which is kind of a communication strategy, how you're supposed to deal and involve your stakeholders into the project. Now, obviously, we can also use AI for that, and I just want to show you that right now. I would like to brainstorm with my favorite AI on a list of potential stakeholders for my project, and I want to have it build a stakeholder matrix as I have just shown you, plus I also want to have a stakeholder list. This is why I have prepared this prompt here, where I'm priming the AI to be an expert in requirements engineering and business analysis, and I'm telling it that I want to do a stakeholder analysis, where I wanted to create a table of different stakeholders, and I would want it to tell me which ones I should include and which ones not. It should give me a little bit of a reasoning, and it should also classify into power and influence, as well as interest in the project, potentially. And once we have the table, which I want to have in a downloadable Excel format, it should draw a diagram and visualize this stakeholder matrix for me. This is just a suggestion, a very good way to brainstorm with your AI and then take the results and adjust it according to your needs. Now, obviously the LLM needs to have some context on what sort of project we're building, and this is where I use my product vision board contents that I have built in one of the previous videos, which always helps me to give the AI the proper context. Now, let's move on to ChatGPT. Obviously, this would also work in Copilot or in Claude or Gemini or AIxRE and so on. I've just copy pasted the prompt. It's gonna read it, and now it's gonna start working on it. We can see it has just updated its memory. That's one of the new features of ChatGPT right now. It can also memorize things that I was working with it, but that's actually just a side note. Right now, we're not really interested in that. So it's processing a little bit. You can see it's a bit of a longer prompt, but we ensure that we give it the right instructions so it knows what it's supposed to do and in which quality we're expecting the results. Now it's still analyzing. What it should do, it should come up with a list of stakeholder suggestions. Actually, while it's working, I can show you the results that I have received in one of my previous runs. We have a detailed stakeholder analysis table where you can see this is the stakeholder for my food waste app or my app to reduce food waste. It suggests me if they should be included in the project or not. It gives me some reasoning, and it clearly tells me whether influence and power or interest are low or high. And then what it also has done, it has visualized the same thing for me here. While I was describing you that, I hope, yes, it is done now. It has already created the matrix and the downloadable Excel file. As you can see here, boom, I have my Excel file. It should open now, and these are my results. I hope you liked it. I hope you found this useful. Please follow, like, and subscribe for more, and also take note that we just released our new course, AI in Requirements Engineering. See you soon.